Good morning. My name is Jane McLane. I'm your service assistant today. And today we have our own Reverend Frank. And yay! And his talk will be about Oz's Scarecrow practice. Having a brain.
Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you.
Find a comfortable seat in your chair. Uncross your legs and place your feet on the floor to ground yourself. Sit with your spine comfortably erect and tilt your chin slightly down towards your chest to elongate your neck. Imagine a string slightly pulling the crown of your head towards the sky. And if you wish to, place your hands on your belly. Take a slow, deep breath into your belly, feeling your hands move outwards as you breathe in. Exhale, slowly feeling your hands moving in towards your spine. As you inhale, fill your belly first, and then your lungs at the very last. As you exhale, empty your lungs first, and then your belly last. Continue breathing in and out slowly. Slow, deep breathing tells your subconscious mind that you are in a safe place and your body can relax. When your body is relaxed, you can let go of the worries and the stress that you may be carrying. Breathe in slowly and breathe out deeply. Feel your body relax. Now, if you wish, place your hands over your heart and breathe into your heart space. Imagine that your breath is flowing in and out through your heart. Now let's generate a heart feeling. A feeling such as compassion, peace, joy, fulfillment, serenity, care, appreciation. Generate a heart feeling by remembering a heart-filled moment in your life. It might be a memory of your family sharing a special time together that filled everyone with joy and laughter. With that feeling of joy filling your heart, you may find yourself smiling. It might be a heart-filled memory of sharing meals with friends. It might be a memory of a tender moment with your spouse or child. Breathe and feel. Fill your heart with these heart feelings. Focus on these feelings. How does your heart feel? Does it feel full? Does it feel warm? Soak in these beautiful feelings. Take a moment to consciously enjoy the goodness that you are experiencing. Now, as you are breathing out, radiate these heart feelings out as if they are mighty currents of love power going out to bless the people in your life. Imagine these currents of love power swirling in, through, and around the people you want to bless, comforting them, embracing them. Say aloud, if you wish, the names of your loved ones and other people and places that you want to lift up and bless. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. Send it out to all who come into your mind. Feel the joy, the compassion, the peace, and serenity that fills your heart with delightful pleasure of positive, energizing fullness. Now, redirect these positive feelings into a focus of love for yourself. Feel the love that is present for you in this moment. Let it in and soak in these feelings so that it fills the cells of your body. Let them fill your feeling world. Let them energize you and uplift you. And with a smile on your face, in gratitude, we say thank you. Again, thank you. Our grateful hearts guide us and move us toward our highest and best outcomes. Again, we say, thank you. Amen.
When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. That I heard of once in a lullaby. that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, then oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I?
Ooh, love that song. Hey, let's go over the rainbow. What do you say? That's what I want to talk about today is going over the rainbow. And maybe one way, now, just to pause, this whole month, if you've been here through the month or parts of the weeks, we've been doing the image from the movie The Wizard of Oz. And the books may be a little bit different, but I think most of us, I asked this before, has anybody not ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz? Okay, so isn't that cool? It's one of the top 5 movies in America that everybody has seen. And it has a certain kind of power to stay around because really what's going on is the archetypes are so powerful. We all resonate with them. There's a sense where we really know this story. And I want to talk, just before we get into what I want to do today is we've done the Cowardly Lion, and we've done the Tin Man, and now today we want to look at the Scarecrow. But let's back up for 1 second, because I want to talk about this sense of going over the rainbow and going into where Oz is, where the wizard is, and where all these characters are, which is not always in our conscious mind, but is in our subconscious reality. And in our subconscious does not mean that, it's in the subconscious, it's got nothing to do with what I do in my daily life. No, it's got everything to do with what we do in our daily life. As a matter of fact, we work into our conscious mind. We think we're living out of our conscious mind, but all the time, oh my gosh, and it happens to me all the time, and it happens to you, and it's part of being human. Stuff that's there in our subconscious mind is running the show. It's running the show. And part of the transformational spiritual journey, well, not part, a major part, like this huge driving force of what we often do in this thing we call our spiritual path, is we want to get underneath what we think was running the show, and we want to find the stories, the energies, the principles, the juice that's causing us to act out in this world in ways that sometimes surprise us. Like, really? Did I just say that? Do you ever have a thing where this happened? I did this the other day. You're sitting there and there's 10 people in your room and we're all talking about something, and all of a sudden I go, or somebody goes, well, wait a second, but that's really, and you don't understand, and this is really a big deal, blah, blah. And everyone else is going, well, that's really got you. I did that the other day. I mean, we do this all the time. It's very normal. And one of the ways we know that there's something going on in our subconscious that's showing up and playing out in this world is well, one, I heard this one way, so I've got a disproportionate and redundant reaction. It's like it keeps showing up and it keeps doing it, and it's really weird that nobody else seems to be as upset about that as I am. It's because there's something I haven't looked at it's running on a reel in there. And where does it come from? Well, in some ways, we could ask where it comes from, and from our childhood, from something we heard, from something we thought, from something we've brought into our life and we think is a truth. But there's also, and that's part of us, and that's part of our individual journey. Yes, that's true. But there's also, and Carl Jung would talk about this, these great archetypes. There's these energies that are within all of us as humans that are sitting there, sometimes out and conscious and sometimes latent. And like you think of the Wizard of Oz, for example. And I'll see it, and I was a little kid when I first saw it. I was like, oh my God, those flying monkeys. You remember the flying monkeys? Get them away. Don't want flying monkeys. Oh my God, no flying monkeys. Oh, I've got flying monkeys in here all the time. Oh my God. You ever said, oh, if you really knew what I was really thinking. Flying monkeys. Oh God, I can't say that. If you knew what I was just thinking about that person, situation, event. If you knew what I really wanted to say, yeah, there's your flying monkey. These energies flying around. And the beauty, and it doesn't mean that, so part of the spiritual journey is to look at the flying monkey and then just say it. No, but it's to look at it. And to get a better sense of these energies that are running under the surface. And as a matter of fact, so much of our great literature, so much of the great stories, the things that really captivate us, the reason that they captivate us is because we relate to these great archetypes that even if we're not conscious of them, we feel them. We know Wizard of Oz is a great example. When I was in ministry school, we would practice, talks like this all the time. And one assignment was, okay, go back to the Greek mythology and give a talk based on one of the pieces from Greek mythology. And I did Hermes, the guy with the wings on his feet. There's a reason for that. One of my friends, now Reverend Brenda, she did Medusa. She bought a hat with all those snakes. I saw her at conference. I said, have you ever pulled that hat out? She goes, once a year. The congregation goes, when are you going to do that Medusa thing again? And you go, well, that's not, where does that story come from? It's all these Greek, these Roman, these myths from around the planet. They're powerful in their archetypes. And even, you go, well, what about Jesus and the disciples? The 12 disciples represent the 12 powers, innate energies, not so much archetypes, but innate power centers of our life. This innate energy, this power, this love, this wisdom, this faith, this imagination, this understanding. These are innate to us. And when we hear these stories and we see the disciples, and Charles Fillmore does a great job at constantly saying, who are these disciples are showing up and what energies do they have? It's a great another energy when you read these people and you go, oh, there's a, and we're reading about historical figures, mostly, maybe, sorta. They're historical, but what do we know about a lot of them? But the brilliance of the Fillmores is they went back and said, well, wait a second. We can look at these energies by what they say and what we know about them that show a different power center, a different part that sits there in the subconscious until we go, wait, I'm going to claim that out of the truth of who I am, and it's available to me, and bring it online in a powerful way into the world to act out in the world that's for my and the world's transformation. You know? The gospel story is a great story this way. We bring in things from archetypes, and the beautiful thing, the shadow. Ooh, where the shadow lurks, right? Oh, and we've all got them. And you want to play with shadows. You guys dream lately? Oh, you can see them. The figure, you're in your sleep and you're going, wait, what is that? What is something in the shadows? What's, these, and we project them out and we say, look at that shadow over there. And I'm just 3 fingers pointing back, right? Where is it? It's stuff that I haven't acknowledged that's me, and I don't like that it's me, and I feel uncomfortable that it's me. Usually has to do something with shame, guilt, feeling lesser than, not feeling good enough, feeling bad about myself. So instead of owning it that that's in me, that's way too scary. Well, that person has it. And so when we find where we're sitting there and going, that person, I just worked with that person, I'm just getting so mad at him. We do this about people, and we go, aha, boy, I'm really railing on that person. And you might think, shadow, projecting out on someone else a little bit more than is necessary with a lot of energy. Shadow, projecting out. Now, this all leans into what I'm talking about today, but it's also a shameless advertisement for the minister's class that's coming up, calling Birthing a Greater Reality, a Guide for Conscious Evolution. And I was, leading into this, to the Wizard of Oz. Oh, and by the way, we could have done this with Star Wars, with Harry Potter, with, all the great myths, but there's a reason I chose Wizard of Oz. And this book about our conscious evolution is all about getting into the energies that are behind us and running in our subconscious and bringing them out, and not only as individuals, but what are those energies running around in our corporate, in our communal, in our country. Oh, there's an election coming up. Oh, man. There's some projection and some stuff going on and all sorts of energies at play. And we talk about them out here, but we need to get inside and go, what's really going on in our corporate psyche, in our unconscious as a community? And when you go, this is really hard intention, well, that means there's a lot of stuff to unpack and take a look at and find what stories are running and bring them to the conscious level and say what's working and comparing against what we know as this unfolding of truth about compassion and love and justice and the movements that guide our life, and to take them and look at these big energies coming up and just really take a look at them. This class sort of does that. It shows what great stories are like, what great stories are at play, oftentimes in our subconscious. But we can bring them up and take a look at them and go, what story is playing out here? It's really beautiful. So let me go into the Wizard of Oz for this story. And I think we're at now talking about the Scarecrow. And the reason I picked this story was some years when I came down here, some friends gave me these cool little books. And it's by a guy named Vivekananda, who came to the Parliament of World Religions in 1890s. One of the first people who brought this into this sort of Vedic, if you will, from the Vedas, from the great traditions of the East. And he brought these teachings, and he never wrote a book himself, but people captured his notes and captured his talks, and he put them together, and he had these 4 kinds of yoga. And one book was called Raja Yoga, and this is yoga meaning like tether, being yoked to, being connected to, being this true, what is the practice of being connected? Let's use yoga in that term. So this practice of connection. And he wrote this book called Raja Yoga, and that's all about when we talk about meditation. And like what Jane led us through, this sense of going into our hearts and going into the silence, and whether it's a guided meditation or a contemplation or a silent meditation. This is like what we think of as that spiritual practice, which we call meditation. Well, that's one kind, but he gave us 3 others, which are beautiful. And one of them was karma yoga. And karma yoga is this yoga, this practice of selfless service. Sean, we talked about that on Labor Day, right? Am I big enough? Am I worthy enough? Am I strong enough to go out and serve the world, cowardly lion? It's this energy of this wisdom that says, I have it within me to understand where the world might need my service, and to have the courage and the strength. These are all in the 12 powers, these are these lower chakra energies, to move forward into the world and be of service. And there's many people who recognize, and you hear them say it, my spiritual practice is I serve. I serve. I show up in love and I serve. This is my practice. The karma yogis. And none of these are better than the other. And for many people, they say the four all come together, the same end zone, the same end point of end zone. What season is it? End point. Slam in the end zone there. Yeah. Is there a game today? What time? Oh, 1 o'clock. Oh, I better hurry up. Okay. Oh, I really got to hurry up then. All right. We got a Mariners game at 11:30 and a Seahawks game at 1. So the same end point for all of these. And then we talked about Tin Man, this love yoga, and he calls it bhakti yoga. Bhakti, this yoga of love. And one of the stories we told is like, you imagine you're walking down a street and a little dog jumps out and goes, rah, 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 and you go, oh my God, I'm so scared, right? And love, well, I love this image that Vivekananda writes. Now imagine a different scenario. You're walking with your child, a little 3-year-old by the hand, and a lion jumps out. You don't jump back and go, oh my God. You go, lion, I will tear you apart. Big. That love that goes, you get in front of your child and goes, don't even think about it, lion. You're just like, I know. You become that big, that strong, that powerful, that much love. I care. I am in love so much that I will stand up with a ginormous amounts of courage to protect what's mine to protect. And you say, well, wait a minute, attack from. But what about when we show up in love and we see the poor or homeless in the street? What love do we show up with that? What about the injustices in the world? What about income inequality? What about the amount of nuclear weapons sitting in our arsenals around the world? Where's our love to show up and say, wait, talk about a lion. Where do we show up about, when it comes to all the various issues of oppression and injustice, and showing up and going, I'm going to show up in that compassionate love, where, that Tin Man love that shows up. And you find in The Wizard of Oz, it's the Tin Man love, but you see there's a little lion there and there's a little Scarecrow. They all work together, right? Dorothy's on a journey and she's bringing all of these attributes of her subconscious into play. Dorothy, who's us, all of us, this is the heroine's journey. Men and women have a heroine's journey. Men and women have a hero's journey. These are the energies of our life. We show up and we say, we invite these energies in new ways, and they're there. They're latent. We just need to hit play on the reel and let these things play out in our life and invite them in new ways. Invite that depth of lion energy, this courage, and invite that depth of love that knows no bounds and stands up in the world for clarity and stands against injustice and wants to bring compassion into the world with that much, boldness. These are the energies we want. So today, there's another book. I can't find it, actually. If you look around the church and you find a little book that looks like this, where there's one around somewhere. But anyhow, and this one's called Jnana Yoga. It's the fourth one that Vivekananda wrote about. And it's the service, it's the practice of right understanding, which is one of the 12 powers that Charles Fillmore talks about. Right understanding. And it has to do with thinking. And I couldn't help but laugh at how much of unity, how Jnana Yoga we are about right thinking. Because what's our 5 principles? My life experiences changes by how I choose to think. And what's the very next one? The way I think and choose to think and feel and believe and what values I hold on, all this stuff I'm holding on to changes by my daily affirmative prayers and affirmative actions. That I can stand up and support my mind by the own practice of affirmative thoughts and affirmative actions. How does that work? How does that work? The other day, a deer decided to come and bash in the front of our car. So we have, everybody's fine, but I drove in, the car is kind of a mess, and the front light is out. So we're down to one car. And so Diane was going off yesterday, and it's okay, you got to take, the Civic. So we have the Prius, which is now bashed up. can't be driven, right? And we have the Civic, very simple. So I say, okay, Dan, can I help you put the stuff in the car? So let me fix the key. The little screw is messed up. So I fixed the screw, and I took it off my keychain, and I said, here's the Civic key, and this is the car you're going to take, and go drive down to Mount Vernon. Here's the Civic, and it's all good, right? So can I help you load stuff in the car? She goes, sure. So I grabbed the Prius key. I went outside with all this stuff, went, boop, went, that's the car that's broken. But you see, but we get so entrenched. Yeah, I mean, I just had this whole discussion about going out in the I put the doggone key down and went out with the broken car key and said, let me put the stuff in the car for you. Because it's like we're running on a treadmill. I've thought this way, I've always thought this way, I keep thinking this way. And we have this new revelation, this new insight, this new thing in our consciousness. I got it. And we go right back into the old play, right? Okay, you know these situations? There's a story of a lion that was given as a gift to the National Zoo in Washington. And they said, we're going to build this beautiful cage for it. And they started construction of this 2.5-acre ginormous place with savannas and trees and water and a big, great place for a lion to play. And so but they only had this big, 12 by 12 area for this lion. And so they put it in there at the moment while they were building its pen. So the lion started walking in this figure 8, right? He'd walk this figure 8 up and back and up and back, and they'd feed him food, and then the lion would walk and walk. And so anyhow, it was a delay getting this lion pen built. And so finally, a couple years later, the big lion pen's right, and they released the lion out into the lion pen so it can run and play and have these acres. And the lion went off into a corner by the window and started walking in a figure 8. And until the day he died, this lion just walked in a figure 8. Had been so entrenched. Well, you know the metaphor here. How much of us are just walking around and this is the way I do it, this is the way I do it, this is the way. Have a new insight. Yeah, but this is not the way I do it. And I used to, how much of it. And so we got to be gentle with ourselves. Because this is what happens in our mind. And this discipline, this spiritual practice of right understanding is really challenging. It's saying, stop thinking the way you were thinking. It's time to be bold and look at a new way of showing up. A new way of showing up. And even when there is a new way of showing up, you go, I got it. And then you go right out to the old way of doing it. That's okay. It's what we do, right? Try again. We expand the way we want to think, and we expand this whole thing. So I want to talk to you about the Scarecrow. The first thing he says, and this is great, that Dorothy comes up, and there's a split in the road. And she goes, I wonder which way to go. And the Scarecrow goes, some people go this way. She goes, what was that speaking? And then the Scarecrow goes, some people go that way. And she goes, did you just speak? And she goes, some people go both ways. There's a little bit of wisdom here. And she goes up, she goes, can you come down for me? He goes, well, I don't have a brain, and I really don't know how to get myself off this thing, but maybe if you turn the nail just a little bit, I'll slide off. I don't know, it might work. And so she does, and the Scarecrow jumps up. And she says, and this is great, so I'm going to Oz to get the wizard so the wizard could help me get home. That trickster wizard, always pulling the wool over your eyes, right? There's a lot of trickster in all of us. And the Scarecrow goes, do you think if I went with you that the wizard would give me a brain? And she goes, well, I don't know, but, it wouldn't be any worse than what you're doing now. Did you catch that? And so she goes. Then she says something fun, but I got a mean witch after me, so you want to be careful. There's a song, I love this, that Michael Beckwith, from Agape sings, and it's like this chant. He goes, well, like the Scarecrow, you might as well choose to be happy. You might as well choose to be great. You might as well choose to be prosperous. You might as well. Like the Scarecrow. Why not? Because I'm so used to walking in my little figure 8. And why would I want to think greater thoughts? Why would I want to be happier? Why? You might as well break through the cage and get the right understanding of what's possible. But it also takes Scarecrow energy, and it takes lion courage energy, and it takes heart energy to want to burst out and do something even greater. And so what do we need? What do we need for right thinking? And I want to submit that when I'm talking about right thinking, it's not necessarily book smarts. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. It's like a divine intelligence. It's like an intelligence of the heart, as you led us through this meditation, Jane. It's like getting into that heart space and having an intelligence that's beyond just book. As a matter of fact, and the wizard is so smart, and they finally get to Oz, right? And they say, I want a heart, I want a brain. The wizard says, oh, I can't give you this. And when it's Scarecrow's turn, he goes, I need a brain. He goes, I don't even know what the word he uses. Every parsimonious animal in the world has a brain, whatever, some crazy word he uses. And he goes, a snail has a brain, a worm has a brain, they all have a brain. What you don't need is a brain, you need an affirmation. What was our third principle? By our daily prayers, and after our fourth principle, and affirmations, trickster wizard. And he's not a great wizard, right? What did Dorothy say? Yeah, he's not a very good wizard, but he's a good man. Yeah. He showed up and gave them what they needed, an affirmation. And he says, where I come from, people run around with brains all the time, but what they lack is a diploma. So I made a diploma for all of you, and you can, in your heart, take this with you from the Unity of Bellingham. And this is a quote from the Wizard of Oz. By virtue of the authorities invested in me by the Universitatis Commititata Me Pluribus Unum. What the hell does that mean? What does that even mean? But anyhow, here's your diploma, everybody. Because we want to think different. We want to elevate our thoughts. We want to get out of our figure eight. We want to expand, right? So here you go. You ready? You need Bellingham. Okay. By virtue of the authorities invested in me by the Universitatis Commititata Me Pluribus Unum, I hereby confirm upon all of you the honorary degree of THD. And the Scarecrow says, what's THD? And the wizard goes, a degree of thinkology. Here you go. You've all now received your diploma, your degree of thinkology. You know this great affirmation that says we can somehow think it a little bit different. And then this is a funny thing now, and it's a brilliant part of the whole story. And the Scarecrow goes, aha, the square root of both sides of an isosceles triangle equals the square root of the other side. No, it doesn't. That's not true. It's not true. I mean, do you remember geography? I mean, if you have an equilateral triangle, yeah, maybe that works. And if you had a right triangle, it sort of works, the Pythagorean theory. But no, in general, that is not true. And in the movie, after he says that, he goes, the square root of both sides of an isosceles triangle equals the square root of the other side. The wizard goes, That's not the important thing. It's not about being right. It's not about being right. And it's not about getting the words right on the diploma. And it's about a spiritual intelligence. And what he gave the Scarecrow was some confidence. It's like, stop walking your figure eight, step up and throw something out. And maybe it's not exactly right. Fine. Start the dialogue. Start talking. Start trying. Start doing something different. And when I was a kid and he said that, I went, dang, he's smart. Then in high school, I took the class and went, that ain't right. That ain't right. But that's okay. It's not about being right. This affirmation is not about now you're going to get everything right in the plane of the material world. It's about having the confidence to step out in the acknowledgement of the infinite self, the essential self, or the true self, or the real self, or the Christ self, or what Vivekananda said in here, the Atman. The Atman is that internal divine principle that connects with the Brahman, the eternal source principle, and it's all the one. It's the divine showing up as you, as me, as us. Brahman to Atman, the divine into the Christ, the truth of the universe that shows up as the universal truth of each and every one of us. And the right understanding that the Scarecrow gets, the right thinking, the right understanding is the Christ in you, your hope of glory. And it doesn't matter if you get the math right. It doesn't matter if we make mistakes and try out. Of course we do. We play this out. But what we want to confirm upon ourselves is the affirmation of the truth of our essential nature, our eternal nature. And Vivekananda, through the whole way, the ultimate source of the ultimate knowledge is when we can get to the place and go, yes, I am that. I am that I am. That I am consciousness is the right knowledge. And the energy, the Scarecrow energy, is knowing the truth of that eternal, present, essential Christ self. And isn't that what we've been saying Sunday after Sunday, week after week, life after life? And so much of the unfolding of our traditions, our great traditions, just acknowledge that beautiful part of ourself. So the journey, this beautiful journey that we've been given, is to play into that, looking at the eternal part of ourselves. And part of the fun is then go into, and this stuff is online for us, and we dig into the subconscious elements. We explore our shadows. We explore our subpersonalities. We explore what shows up in this beautiful, beneficial way, and we show up the weird things that show up in our life, and we explore, and we dig, and we look, and what energies at play? Is there a scarecrow here? Is there a lion here? Is there tin man here? Is there flying monkeys here? What is going on? And we look at that, and we bring it into the light. We look at all these parts of ourselves. We bring them into the light. And what's subconscious becomes conscious. This is the journey of transformation. And then we can clue into that Christ self of us without being distracted by all the things that are running around in our subconscious mind that are subtracting. And we can really be on purpose and in service and in right relationship for ourselves, for each other, and for the world. Isn't that great? You'll never see the Wizard of Oz the same way again, right? It's beautiful. Okay, blessings. Blessings.